We're talking about the 2.80 lakh crore mega health impetus that has been provided by the Finance Ministry to the health sector, keeping in mind especially the coronavirus 19 vaccination that is going to actually bring about India as the mega global hub with regards to the health sector. And that's the big question that I'm asking at this point of time to Dr. K.K. Agarwal. K.K. Agarwal, let's take a look at 2018. That was the plan, Ayushman Bharat, that Prime Minister Narendra Modi had gone ahead and brought about. 4,000 crore rupees impetus in the budget plan. Come 2021, it's been 3 years. It has been obviously magnified at this point of time with 2.80 lakh crore rupees. What's going to be the fresh impetus? Is India finally going to be the mega health superpower that Prime Minister Narendra Modi and the BJP dispensation envisages for the country?
So this corona has shown that USA is not the best, and corona has shown that China is not your friend. And corona also has shown that all future diseases will arise from the Asian countries and specifically from China. So therefore, we have an opportunity to become the leader of communicable diseases in the world. We may not become the leader in other diseases, but as far as communicable diseases are concerned, and zoonotics in particular. So therefore, government research should, or whatever budget is available, a special budget should go into R&D on zoonotic viruses, make sure that they don't mutate, and you take care of them. And genomics lab should be all over the country, so that I normally say is that if you can make a recombinant mosquito, why can't you make a recombinant virus and spread it and stop the mutation?
Absolutely.
Number one. And number two, the Indian government should also focus on innate immunity in a way that you have vaccines which produces and prevents multiple diseases. These are the lateral thinking where the government should think, because for communicable diseases, no other country will help India. And India got control of this because we were the largest manufacturers of communicable diseases vaccines. We have a lot of experience of communicable diseases. So if we focus on communicable diseases prevention out of this budget, now there is enough budget. Nobody can say India doesn't have budget.
Those are the two big points. Dr. K.K. Agarwal, Madhav Nalapat also joining me on the broadcast. And Madhav Nalapat, let's take a look at the macro picture at this point of time with regards to the health budget. 2.80 lakh crore rupees is not a small sum. And comparing it to 2018 when a 4,000 crore allocation had been made. There has been a pivot, obviously. India is going ahead and looking at becoming the health superpower of the entire world. And this coronavirus 19 pandemic has only pivoted in India's advantage point over here. How can we go ahead and utilize this?
Well, I'd like to say that this is the first really innovative budget I have seen during the Modi era, and I'm delighted. The finance minister has done a wonderful job. Secondly, let me put this in perspective. India has largely solved the problem of starvation. It is working hard under Prime Minister Modi of solving the problem of poverty. Now, you've got a minimum, for example.
I'm apologetic, Madhav Nalapat, but Nirmala Sitharaman and the Finance Ministry actually is holding a press conference after that 3-hour-long budget. So let's listen in.
Shri Devashish Pandey, Secretary Economic Affairs, Shri Tarun Bajaj, Secretary Deepam, Shri Tuhin Kant Pandey, Chief Economic Advisor, Dr. K.V. Subramanian. First, the Finance Minister will make her opening remarks, then we will take some questions from you, friends. Ma'am, over to you, please.
Thank you, and good afternoon. This budget, of course, comes at a time when all of us desire to give greater impetus to the economy. And that impetus we thought would be qualitatively spent and give the necessary demand push if we choose to spend big on infrastructure. That is why if there are two important features of this budget, It is that we chose to spend big on infrastructure, which spans across roads, bridges, ports, power generation, and so on. And also to, as a second feature, attend to the need of the health sector. And even there, capacities for better health management had to be brought in the light of what we have gone through in the last year. And therefore, capacity building in health has taken a very big place in the budget. I've just given a probably just a feeler on what capacities we are talking about, whether it is establishing of labs, whether it is establishing of National Institute of Virology, or whether it is looking at the blocks where you need critical care centers, or whether you're looking at testing labs. Let's just remind ourselves that when the lockdown happened, we had probably just a few, two, if I'm right, 2 or 3 testing labs in this country. During the lockdown, that number was increased to a couple of hundred. Now, therefore, one of the things that we've aimed here is testing labs, Institute of Virology, aspirational districts having better health care. So, infrastructure spend for health has gone down to the level of planning for the block level requirements, aspirational district level requirements, state level requirements, and national institute level requirements. So 2 feature when I said are one in general spending on infrastructure, for which there is a 37% increase in the budget. 5,45,000 crores is what we are giving for this year. And health, it was also something which received something like 94,000 crores in BE of this year, has gone to 223 lakh crores. So you find big numbers in health, big numbers in infrastructure. But this doesn't really mean that we've ignored agriculture, where there too we have placed emphasis. I've increased, as I read it out in the budget, the allocation for NABARD for being able to send more credit through to the farmers. Agricultural infrastructure development cess is something which we are bringing in without on any one single item wherein we are putting the cess, the end consumer paying more than what he is paying today. It is just a restructuring we've done, for instance, of the basic customs duty, where it was, let us say, 12%, we brought it down to 7% and added possibly only 3% on the infrastructure development cess. End of the day, the consumer has ended up paying that much only or less. In no category has he ended up paying more after the agricultural infrastructure development cess. That we have done only because we wanted to be sure that in order to improve agricultural infrastructure, we have a dedicated amount coming out of the budget, rather than that going into the consolidated fund. It might still go, but we know what has got to be used for agricultural infrastructure. So if these are the kinds of things broadly we've done, equally important is the reform that we're bringing in the financial sectors. Disinvestment to continue, LIC to have IPO, insurance sector to have more in terms of opening up for 74% for FDI. These are very clearly steps, progressive steps in financial sector. Other than that, one major cry of all the banks have been the NPAs, for which we have been repeatedly giving capital infusion. In order that the bank books are cleared and cleaned up, we have come with an announcement of a formulation through which the NPAs will be culled out of the bank's books based on some formulation, not any discretion there. It goes to a holding company like structure, which after doing the necessary, sprucing up and also cleaning up and weeding out problems of that particular asset, will be through an open process, attract asset reconstruction companies which can come and bid for those assets. Even at that stage, after some haircut, obviously, banks will get some money back to those NPAs, for which they only kept provisioning for the NPA, but didn't have the wherewithal to dispose them off legitimately. So we are giving that comfort to the banks. And also for funding the infrastructural requirements, a development finance institution is being brought in. All lessons learned from the IDBI, which started as a DFI but later went on to become a scheduled commercial bank-like functioning and couldn't succeed at that, are taken on board. So this DFI, even as it comes with about a 20,000 crore given by the government, which with a little more every now and then added, will eventually be used for raising about 5 lakh crores in a matter of next 3, 4, 5 years, is a formulation where when the law gets passed on that, we will still have an opportunity for the private sector also to set up their own development finance institution. So this country is not going to be, the needs of this country are such that just one development financial institution which is set up by the government will be adequately meeting up with the demand requirements. No, and therefore we see a future for a DFI which is partly funded by the government and raises capital from the market, is also competing with private sector DFIs. Largely this much, but very quickly I'll move over to talking about how we have not lost the opportunity to clean up government's own books. I had started it in July 2019-20, continued it in February 20, and even now we have made accounts more transparent. Nothing is pushed under the carpet. You're showing clearly where's the money going. Money given to FCI is also brought on board. So accounting of government expenditure and revenue statements are all now lots more transparent and open, and absolutely upfront stated the fiscal deficit, where everybody was advising, and rightly because everyone had concern that the economy should revive, advising us, please spend more. We not only ensured that the capital expenditure of the government was repeatedly reviewed and spending was encouraged and pushed, we ensured that the spending will not get delayed, and that is why even though we announced one capital expenditure amount during the BE, even that has gone up, that in the RE I had to make additional provisions for it.
All right, now also take a look at Nitin Gadkari, the highways minister, even minister, going ahead and applauding the budget where the highways and NHAI have been given a multi-crore chunk for development, especially in the poll-bound states come 2021 assembly elections.
With me, Union Minister Nitin Gadkari, sir. Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman said that this is going to be a once in a 100-year budget, and your ministries have got the maximum allocation. How do you view it?
It is really the first time in the history of our country the Finance Minister has given highest priority for development of infrastructure in the country. Infrastructure, spending on infrastructure is going to create more liquidity in the market. At the same time, it is going to create more employment potential. And where the core industry, particularly steel, cement, they are going to benefit it. At the same time, it is going to contribute in GDP growth. So the more liquidity in the market, it accelerates the economy. And at the same time, now we are going to make the infrastructure of world standard. This is really a great achievement for the country. And first time in the history of the India, the Finance Minister is giving highest priority for infrastructure. For railway, road, airports, solar power, and green power, then making of different infrastructure. It is really a great thing for the country.
But the opposition is saying, sir, that the government is pushing all the core sectors towards privatization, and they are saying that the maximum allocation is for states which are going to polls.
Actually, the first of all, you have a big challenge. You don't have that much money. Either it is government from any political party. And people expectation is they need express highway. I am telling you the example when I was minister in Mumbai. We don't have money. I have to construct 55 flyovers in Mumbai, Worli Bandra ceiling project, then Mumbai Pune express highway. If government, we never spent government money on this project. And now because of public investment, we have completed this project in 2000. Otherwise, at least 50 years it will take to complete the project on the budget. So you just understand what will be the impact of all these things. So getting infrastructure, good infrastructure, and creating support for that to take the use of different economic models, PPP, NUT, TOT, different type of model taking use of it. It's really a new innovative idea, a new economic approach for the country, and which is very important and which is going to fulfill the expectation of the people by and large.
So one of the key crises of this government has been, the farmers who have been agitating at all the entry points of NCR region. Do you think the government has promised enough in the budget to elevate their fare, and this will help in?
16 lakh crores are now for priority sector, for agriculture and for fisheries and dairy. Then 3,50,000 crore we have already given to the farmers because the market price and the international price is less than the MSP. So now because of Swaminathan committee, every year we are declaring the MSP of agriculture crops and we are giving money for that from the government budget. The amount is 3,50,000 crore. Is it not a historical contribution from the government for the farmer? So government is doing really too much work for the farmer. But some of the people, they trying to confuse farmer. When it is difficult for them to convince, they try to confuse them. That is exactly the thing today is happening in the country.
All right, so that was Union Highways Minister going ahead and applauding the 4,000 crore budget that has been the biggest chunk that has been provided to the highways development across the country, especially in the eastern and the southern states of the country, keeping in mind the elections that are going to be happening in these states. But we'll take a short break, come right back, because we're going ahead and discussing the Defend India budget that has been again increased for the past 15 years. That has been the most important and significant increase, keeping in mind the aggression from the northern and the western borders.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.